Welcome back, friends. My name is BigWynter, and today I've got your weekly roundup of gaming's biggest news stories and leaks. And my god, do we have some seriously big news to get through today. So wasting none of your time, let's jump right into our first story of the week in Concord. I'm sure many of you have heard already, but just in case you haven't, Concord is the newest hero shooter on the scene, developed by Firewalk Studios and published by Sony. It was released on the 23rd of August and most unfortunately was not well received. With less than 700 concurrent players on launch day, it's with regret that I say the game was an absolute flop. And with less than 25,000 copies sold across both Steam and PlayStation, it has to be one of the poorest first weeks of sales performances I've seen in a very long time. But what actually happened? Did the game just slip under the radar? Was the game actually that bad? And notice here that I'm saying was. Following this disastrous first 2 weeks or so, Sony has now released a public statement that they're fully pulling the plug and the game will be going offline from the 6th of September 2024. Refunds will be issued to all who purchase on the PlayStation Store, Steam, and Epic Games, and to those who purchase physical copies, they will need to go through the refund process of the retailer they purchased from. Although some opportunistic gamers have taken to scalping their physical copies, and the highest listing so far is $25,000, which is absolutely ridiculous. But honestly, after 8 years of development, I can only feel so bad for the development team, as this was very clearly a project of passion. And whilst the game did get its fair share of unnecessary hate around some of the character designs, all in all, it didn't seem as though the game was bad by any means. There were some comments made around the generic nature of some of the characters and the frustration at some of the less than polished map design, but I don't think that's where things really went wrong. Concord was the newest on the hero shooter scene, competing against titans like Overwatch 2 and the newest competitor in Marvel Rivals, both of which have enormous reputation, lore, and community backing, with some players having thousands of hours in their hero shooter of choice. So when a new game dropped with their premium price tag, you have to ask, why would somebody abandon their 3,000 hours in Overwatch, or why would a long-standing Marvel fan choose a less polished game over their free alternative, with a roster made up from their favorite heroes and villains? To me, Concord never really made sense as a game, so whilst I am sad to see its downfall, it does unfortunately make a lot of sense. But enough of downfalls and more about sheer success. That's right, we're talking about it again. It's Black Myth Wukong. Just when I thought I'd seen the last of this game in the spotlight, the Monkey King strikes again. My playthrough of this game is still ongoing, so come check out a live stream sometime, but it's recently been announced that the game has topped over $850 million in gross revenue on Steam alone, and the average playtime is around 27 hours, which is actually really impressive, especially given the amount of time the game's been out so far. Similarly, for the first time ever since Steam's release in 2004, simplified Chinese is now the most used language setting within the platform. Whilst this could be a complete coincidence, I'd be willing to bet money that this influx has come as a direct result of the success of Black Myth Wukong. Following this success, it may come as no surprise that we've seen some very recent leaks that we'll be getting 2 DLCs for Wukong, and it would seem as though we have a sequel already in the works. Whilst no timeline has been given yet for these DLCs, the leaker claimed that Wukong was actually meant to have 13 chapters, potentially doubling the length of the original game, but was released with 6 due to the budgeting concerns at the time. However, following the mass success, I don't think budgeting is too much of a concern at the moment. Game Science are yet to comment on these rumors, as they are currently busy working through a possible secret exclusivity deal with Sony to bring the game to the Xbox platform. I'll keep tabs on this and let you know updates as we get them. But moving on to our next big story, we've been seeing more and more rumors surrounding the launch of the elusive Nintendo Switch 2. With its predecessor releasing all the way back in 2017 and selling over 143 million units, it's safe to say it was both incredibly successful, but now well due an upgrade beyond the OLED model. With newer games like Hogwarts Legacy making their way to the handheld, it's just beginning to really show its age, and some gamers are growing restless. But have no fear, some new leaks suggest that wait may nearly be over. Rumors have been surfacing for some time after a closed-door presentation was leaked all the way back in August of 2023, which was showing the new updated model running Breath of the Wild at a solid 4K 60 FPS. Earlier this year, the Japanese giant did confirm that they'd be releasing an official announcement on the Nintendo Switch 2 before the end of the current fiscal year, which ends in March 2025. However, more recent leaks are suggesting that it could be a lot sooner than that. Whilst the announcement did not make its way to the 27th of August Nintendo Connect, many keen observers have been noticing that Hosiden, one of the key manufacturers of the Nintendo hardware, just allocated roughly 3 billion yen to production equipment and automation. Along with this, we have the Tokyo Game Show soon, and many are theorizing that the announcement will actually be dropping in either September or October, before more leaks are released by members of the manufacturing side of things, which is reportedly very common with high-end electronics. With an announcement likely this month or next, we can probably expect an early 2025 release for the console itself, which according to even more leaks will be featuring an element of backwards compatibility. Whilst I doubt this extends to older consoles like the Wii U, I would be surprised if it doesn't pertain to all of the previous Switch games. But with our major stories done, let's take a look at our quickfire round of shorter stories, leaks, and game releases. Starting us off, Cenat is making headlines once again, and this time not for his simply insane viewer counts and shenanigans. He hit the news lately for donating $10,000 to a young streamer as a contribution to their college tuition. Whilst watching the smaller streamer Silverun's attempt at Minecraft speedrun, Kai was so impressed that he donated 500 subs, which the streamer thanked him, saying it was a life-changing amount. After some more back and forth between the two, Kai then promised to donate a further $10,000 towards his tuition, which is extremely wholesome. Rumors have surfaced recently for an Overwatch spin-off FPS RPG after a job listing was posted by Blizzard looking for a senior director of product management. Overwatch in general has a very rich lore base, and Overwatch 2 of course was originally supposed to feature a pretty flashed out campaign and PvE side to the experience, but it was dropped prior to launch. Whilst this new project could of course be something else entirely, many fans of the series are eagerly awaiting confirmation that it is in fact Overwatch related. Star Wars Outlaws has been out for a couple of weeks now and has been met with a number of pretty mixed reviews. While some studios are giving the game closer to an 8, the average seems to be sitting anywhere from 5 to 7 out of 10 range. I've personally seen a lot of bugs posted online, especially on TikTok, but for the most part it seems as though the majority of people are having fun despite the lack of polish. The creative director for the game is disappointed by the 76 Metacritic score, but remains proud of the studio's works and promises to further improve the game. Not long after the most recent game-changing update, No Man's Sky just keeps getting better. With the Aquarius update come a ton of aquatic features like the new fishing mechanics, diving suits, and competitive expeditions for the fishing. Whilst this might seem like a silly update to some, I think it's awesome, and the thought of kicking back with your buds on a random planet floating on a lake catching fish sounds like such an immersive experience. Well done, Hello Games. Arrowhead are back at it again with the gaslighting, which would usually sound like such a bad thing, but I kind of love how they're doing things. Many players noticed recently that the presence of the Illuminate faction was showing up on the Galactic War map, to which the CEO dismissed it all as fake news with a number of in-game messages relating to an electronic issue with the war map. This could honestly just be the case, or the Illuminate are around the corner. At this point, it's anybody's guess. And lastly here, we've got 2 new releases to talk about, the first of which is Astrobot. Now, some of you might be confused, thinking it was released along with the PS5, or maybe that was just me. Releasing on the 6th of September, a brand new Astrobot game is releasing and will be a fun, colorful platformer making full use of the latest DualShock hardware. Early testers of the game are pegging this to be Game of the Year, which is high praise, so be sure to check it out upon release on PS5. And lastly, Space Marine 2 drops at the end of this week, the 7th of September for all, and is currently in early access for the pre-orders. I've been excited for this game for a while now, and from the early playtesting and reviews, things are looking very promising in the 8 out of 10 range. So be sure to let me know what you think of the game if you've played it yourself. But that's it from me today. What did you make of this week's news? Drop a like and sub if you enjoyed, ding that bell for next week's episode. Take care out there, and much love.